glad that you decided to join me today. I'm Lori Bates and I'm with Create Better Health SNAP Ed program. We are affiliated with USU Extension and we based our lessons on USDA recommendations. We're so busy this time of year, and it's good to have something fast to cook for dinner or for lunch or even breakfast for that matter. Create a stir fry, and we have a handout that will be in the comment section step by step on how to do a stir fry. It's simple, easy, and so healthy for you, and hopefully some of the little tips I have today will help you get it done even faster. Did you know that stir frying originated in China? And in recent centuries, it has just spread over parts of Asia and over around the West areas, including, of course, the United States. This technique began around the early to mid 1600s, so it's been around for a long time. And even way before that, they used to dry grains in the stir fry method. And that was like in 206 BC, so a long, long time ago. The term stir frying was introduced by a young lady called Yang Chow. And she put it in her cookbook, and the cookbook was called How to Cook and Eat in Chinese. So just a little tidbit for you, so you kind of knew a little bit more about stir frying. We're going to make an orange chicken asparagus stir fry today. And so I think what we're going to do is I'm going to do it in my electric skillet. I don't have a wok, but I do have an electric skillet, and it works just as well in my opinion. It might not get as screaming hot as a wok, but it does the trick. Or you could do it in a sauté skillet pan. That would work too, okay? So first, I think we're gonna go ahead and get our orange juice, 3/4 cup of orange juice. And my tip for that is I used frozen orange juice, concentrate, and I just put 2 tablespoons in the 3/4 cup to a cup of water. And then I put the silver lid back on it, back in the fridge. And then I can use it for another time for breakfast or for another time when I want just some orange juice. I don't know, I was in the store the other day and I was pricing orange juice just for fun, just to kind of see where the prices are on them. And I was just floored with how expensive orange juice is right now. And usually I would think it's, on the cheaper side right about now, but it wasn't. So watch your prices. Things are unfortunately a little high right now on food. So we have to do all we can to cook at home because it's so much easier on your budget. Okay, so we're going to take some orange juice and 4 teaspoons of cornstarch. Now, cornstarch is a thickener and has to be put in and that's about a tablespoon. So we'll just use the tablespoon. Into cold water. I don't normally use a lot of cornstarch. I like using something called a corn thickener, and that can be used in hot and cold. So if you see that in the canning section, that would be another way you could do it. It seems like it's expensive in the beginning, but it goes a long ways. Okay, so I'm going to put my skillet up to about 400 on here because we want it hot, okay? All right. So we're going to get that done. Then we're going to start cutting our green onions. Now, if you'll remember, if you've seen any of my videos, I put cucumbers and zucchini and onions, all in celery in aluminum foil because it keeps it for a much longer time and it keeps it fresher. So that's a really good tip to remember. I also like to use my scissors when it comes to cutting these onions. And so I just kind of get these all lined up like this, and then take my container here and cut the little roots off. And then I'm just going to cut them. I've already cut the ends, that woody end that's on the end sometimes. It gets all worked over in shipment sometimes. And so I'm just going to put these just really small in our pan, and I'm going to put some oil in here. Just maybe a tablespoon of oil to start out. Let's see how we do with it. And I'm going to do some of the green parts of it, not all of them. Usually we use this green part for like a little chive, so something asks for a chive, that works really well for that. Spoon of oil. So we'll just get that going. And we're going to get that kind of heated up a little bit. I'm going to keep that oil close by. Alright, then the next thing is some soy sauce. I'm just going to put that in with our orange juice. And I'm going to take this little cap off. I hate that thing, don't you guys? Ugh. Okay, so 3 tablespoons of that. And you might want to do that over a bowl, especially if you're like me and you spill it, and then you're spilling it into your product, and you got more than you intended. And this is a low sodium soy sauce because regular soy sauce is really salty. So try and go low sodium when you can. I'm just going to take my spoon and move this around. And I have some carrots. I'm going to show you how to get those nice and cut here. Okay, and what I do with the carrot is I rinse it, make sure it's nice and clean, of course, and then cut your ends off. And then I section it however long I want it to be. So if I want it like, 2 inches, then I just get those cut off like that. And then get this flat so that they're easier to work with. And if there's any blemished areas like this, you're probably going to want to throw that away because that's where bacteria and whatnot hide. Even after rinsing it, sometimes it still does. Okay, so then you've got these all flat, and then you're going to take your knife and cut it as thin as you would like. But make sure they're all as close to the same size as possible, okay? So just watch your fingers, and then they look somewhat like this. And if you want them thinner, go ahead and, I've got these little things underneath here. Cut them again to make them thinner, okay? I like them a little thicker myself, but if you don't and you like them thinner, then feel free to get those going. And you want about a 1/2 cup, and so get those going like that. All right? And then we're going to, I also froze my red bell peppers. These have been in the freezer. And what I'm going to do is put some hot water in with this, and I wanted you to see it frozen. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of hot water, kind of take that frost off. Okay? And then they're nice and bright to use in our, be careful because that hot pan doesn't like that water. Okay, and then you're going to move this around, keep moving it around really quick now that this pan is hot. And if you need to, go ahead and turn it down to the 350. Okay? I think I'm just going to go ahead and turn turn mine way down because I still have some things to do. All right. And then the next thing we have is our honey. And I have 3 tablespoons of honey that I'm just going to add right into the orange juice. And if your honey gets thick and crystallized, go ahead and put it in some warm water, or you could have put it in the microwave as well. And this will take care of that for you. And then we're going to do our garlic. Now remember, if you go like this to your garlic, you can get all the paper off. And then you're going to want to kind of strip it. Or you could do it on your planer or your zester. That would work too. And then line them all up. And let's get them chopped. Now I like mine small, but if you don't and you like yours bigger, then leave them in bigger chunks. This is the nice thing about doing things at home. You can pretty much do it the way that you want it. And another way to do this knife is make sure you have like some glue at the top, and then put your hand on the top and just kind of rock it. Whoops, if you can hold on to your knife. Okay, and then have some room to work. That always helps. Everything's always crowded in front of the camera sometimes. That's 2 cloves or 1 clove, so I'll just use half because I did 2, and I'll freeze the other half, okay? All right, and then we have some ginger, and I froze the ginger so that I didn't have to keep going back and forth to the store. And then I rinse it before that so that I can just zest it just as it is. And let's see, we've got we gotta get the asparagus in first. Let's do the asparagus first. All right, so asparagus is a really good price right now, and how you do it is you just kind of bend it, and wherever it breaks, that's where you will use it. And then I'm just going to cut it in half, just like so. Just keep going, because it'll break where the woodiness starts, and you don't want that woody, rough flavor. But if you don't mind it, then go ahead and use the whole thing. But do cut that bottom off, because it gets to be in water at the store and whatnot, and so it's always good to. And then do the size that you want on those asparagus, of course. All right, and then I will keep this in the refrigerator to just take a couple and saute them up with a little bit of water. Or I'll put a little bit of honey with it, or a little bit of white sugar with water, a little bit of water, and then add almonds to it. And it makes like a glaze on it, and oh gosh, it's so good. My grandchildren love it that way, and it's a good way to get them to eat asparagus. But do keep it in some water to keep it nice and fresh, and keep that rubber band on the bottom to keep them nice and straight and easy to work with. Because now what I'll do is at lunch, I'll just, either go in and cut, or I'll bend it and snap it, whichever way works for you. Okay, so let's go ahead and turn this back up. We've got all of our vegetables in here, and we want to get them all sauteed. And if you need to, add a little teeny bit more oil or some water. And water works out just fine. Oh, we forgot the chestnuts, didn't we? Okay. Now, if the chestnut is way too big for you and you want it smaller, go ahead and just cut it in 4s or in half. And this is an 8-ounce container, and I probably will not use the whole thing. But if you want to and you have a big family, then feel free to do that. And I will probably freeze the rest of it for another time. Okay? And I love water chestnuts. Do you guys? They are so crunchy and yummy. They remind me of my mom and my husband's dad. They used to eat these raw potatoes, and it kind of reminds me of that, of seeing them just eat a thing of potato. Matter of fact, I remember as kids wanting just some potato to eat at home. So very, very nice. So I use about half the can of that, okay? And then I took a rotisserie chicken and deboned it already, cooked it, made some broth, you know, the whole thing from it. I don't let anything go to waste on it. And then I froze lots of little bags like this up. And okay. Ooh, can you hear that? I wish you were here to smell it. That's, besides seeing you guys' beautiful, handsome faces, is one of the things I think that we miss with not having classes in person, is being able to smell things and be able to see with our eyes. And okay, so you'll see that this ginger zests up really good on this little planer. And depending upon what kind of bite you want as far as heat goes, is how much you will do. Oh gosh, that smells good too. Okay, so on the ginger, we're going to be doing 2 teaspoons. So this isn't enough, so let's keep going. So I would say about a half of one of these bigger ginger roots would be about right. Okay, so we'll get that in there. And then let's add our orange juice and our cornstarch and our soy sauce and our honey. Get that all mixed up really good, because sometimes it'll go to the bottom of your cup. So get that all going. All right. And then just keep stirring. Put it at your 400. And so far we've got protein, and we have vegetables, and we have orange juice, which is a fruit. And we can have a glass of milk with this as well. Now, if you don't have chicken and you happen to have like some turkey or some tofu, that would also work really, really well. That's basically it. And then you get it to the point where you like your vegetables. If you like your vegetables a crisp tender, or you like them really soft or whatever, you can see that this has gotten quite thick pretty fast. Okay, and I like my vegetables to be crisp and bright and not cooked to death. Okay, and so I'm going to turn that off, and it's done. Then I wanted to show you too something that I like using, and they're called a boil in a bag. And this is your rice, and it's so easy to do. You just do a bag like this, and you put it in some boiling water, like probably a 4 to 5 quart saucepan. Get your water boiling, and then guess what? You put it in the boiling water for 10 minutes, and then you've got yourself some rice. And if you live alone, or if you're 1 or 2 people, you can refrigerate this or freeze it for another time, for breakfast, or to make some rice pudding or whatever. But if you have a bigger family, this works out really well. Now, a serving is a half a cup per person. And so I have that pretty much ready to go here. And then we're going to add some almonds. Now, you can, at this particular time, put any kind of nut that you like. Do you like macadamia nuts? Do you like almonds, pecans, anything like that? And I'm just going to kind of sprinkle that into there. And you can use however little or much you want. I like crunchy things, so for me, I really like doing some nuts. All right. Doesn't that look good? Wow, there we go. And we've got the orange asparagus stir fry. Doesn't that look good? I'm gonna come closer so you can see it. There we go. And that beautiful side with the rice. And now, tell me you don't want that for lunch. And you know what? Instead of using orange juice, use pineapple juice. I tried that and it is so good that way too. And I like pineapple. And then you could use pineapple tidbits instead. So go by the steps in the stir fry handout and, you know, just do your sauce, do your vegetables, saute them, your seasonings, and then your rice or whatever you want. You could do like the crunchy chow mein noodles. You could do bean noodles. You could do this. If you don't have anything to do on the bottom, I bet you might have some ramen noodles. Cook those up. Put it over the top of that. It would work out really good. And then if you want to use pineapple juice instead of orange juice, then do that because it will work out really well. If you have any questions ever, please add them in the comment section and I will go back and check to make sure if you had any questions that your questions are answered. All right, so you could see how dinner could go on your table in a snap, really fast, right? Today I wanted to talk about not just stir fry, but I wanted to talk about the challenges of menu planning and making a shopping list. And I wanted to focus mostly on doing a grocery list because the last time I did a lesson, I did it on menu planning, focusing on that. Menu planning is a first step though. You need to do that before doing your list so that you know what you're going to go shopping for, right? So get that going. And I'm going to also put a handout in the comment section of a menu and a shopping list you can use. Or I've got some ideas for you. I'm going to put in the comment section as well later here in this lesson. Okay. A lot of times we don't do things because we feel like we don't have the time, right? Or I was actually talking to someone the other day and they felt as though they didn't have the skills to cook. And so therefore they go out to eat. It's either that or they wouldn't eat. So this is a good way to learn basic skills. And if you don't have time to watch the videos, at least take the handouts because those are step by step of how to make things. Don't hesitate to use those. Okay, they don't like sticking to a plan. You start to do it, you'll get used to doing it. And then when you haven't done it one time, you'll think, oh my gosh, I miss it. And you will miss it because it really does keep you in line and keep you organized. I've also heard we have too many picky eaters in our house. And this is a problem. I had some, so I know it can be an issue, and it's one that you really have to try and work around. And I've heard of people who will do, like, okay, Sarah is a vegan, or let's say Jane or Tim, they don't like onions. You just will do your menus according to those particular people. I'm not saying you have to make different meals for all of them, but maybe instead of onions, you could use an onion powder, okay? And instead of meat, maybe you could use maybe a tofu or just vegetables. You don't have to always have meat either. Or you could take and don't do your meat and then do your vegetables first and get all that ready, put it on a plate, and then add your meat for everybody else. And that would work too. Money
Money's always a big thing. And with groceries being expensive, but not as expensive as going out, you have to really do a menu plan. And if you do your menu plan from your grocery ads, you're going to save a little bit more money even. So try and do that. And when you're doing a menu and a grocery list, you'll be staying within your budget and you'll be just getting the things you need. A lot of times, I don't know about you, but sometimes I'll go to the grocery store and say, oh, do I have that? You know, and I'll buy it just because I don't want to go back to the store. And then I get home and I have 3. So it's really helpful in that area. I do a grocery list. Well, we talked a little bit about how it helps you with your inventory that you have in your cupboards. And it helps you stick to the My Plate here because you can make your day's menu around this and making sure that you get enough fruits and vegetables and grains and protein and dairy. And go to myplate.gov to find out what the servings and whatnot are for everyone in your family, so you kind of get an idea of what you're working with. You go to the store, you want to add and incorporate foods that are on sale. Right now, asparagus are really, really good prices, so this is a really good time for that. And we're also starting to see strawberries and a few things like that. So that's also something to look into. All right, so write your menu on a piece of paper, display it on your refrigerator or in your phone, whichever. For a week, if you can only do a week. 2 weeks, if you can do 2 weeks. And if you can do a whole month, even better. Okay? All right, so take a picture of that menu plan if you're doing it on paper. So some reasons why we make a list are, well, probably the same reason why we do a menu. And that is it helps us save on time, it helps on our money, it helps on our waistline, and it helps us stick to a list. So that, again, helps with our wallet. A good way to start yours is, like I said, on paper, or there's some things I'm going to put in the comment section. There's playgoogle.com. There's Google Keep is another one to make a list. Another is called ANY List, any list. That's for grocery shopping and recipe organization. So tips when you have gotten to the store. So we've made our menu planning, we've arrived, we've done our grocery list, gone through our cupboards, we're at the store. We're gonna stick to the edge of the store as much as possible. Don't go hungry. That's a really hard one because then they've got cinnamon rolls cooking, they have chicken going, and you're smelling all these things and you're starving, so it's just not a good thing. You end up buying more. So when you go to the grocery store during slow times, you have more time to look at labels, price, your unit pricing, those little stickers that show you the price per ounce or pound, whichever it may be. Identify with foods that you really want. Not things that you're just like on a whim wanting. Look high and low on your shelf. A lot of times they'll pay to have that middle shelf, so look high and low as well. Make your budget beforehand, of course, and be flexible. Okay, then exercise. We want to go over some goals. Goal making, like menu planning, creating a physical activity routine. And you don't need to do this all in one day unless you want to. Because it's a lot. It's a lot to do menu planning. Go through your cupboards and do a shopping list. So break it up and start these particular goal setting on different days, different weeks, so that you don't get overwhelmed. Behavior change is hard, but with small steps, you can create better health. And this is being one. Doing a budget and a menu is another, and then exercising can be another, and walking or parking far away or taking the stairs, whatever it might be. Okay, well thank you so much for watching me today. I hope that you will give this a try. Let me know what you've come up with and how it turned out, and if you have any questions. Thank you. This is Laurie Bates, from my home to yours.